In honor of Big Brother 14 and Big Brother 10 coming to Netflix in December, we have decided to flash back to 2012 and take a look at the top moments of BB14. We already covered the top 10 movements of Big Brother 10, so be sure to check that out as well. For a refresher or a primer to anyone new, Big Brother 14 premiered in July of 2012 and featured 10 new house guests and 4 past players returning as coaches: Dan Gheesling, Mike Boogie, Malin, Janelle Pierzina and Britney Haynes. And to no surprise to anyone, those coaches eventually entered the game to play for the grand prize themselves. So let's get to the top moments of that season. Top 10 moments of Big Brother 14-10. Night 1 eviction. I hate first night evictions. They're just grossly unfair and unnecessary. But this one has had such an impact that it has to be mentioned. This season it was poor Jody who got the night 1 chop when Dan's team lost the competition and he was forced to cut one of his team members. Jody has become a sort of BB legend in her own right, her image sometimes appearing in competitions and her name always coming up on social media. 9. Eat your F in Fruit Loops. Willie Hantz was a hothead from day one and his BB story is one of aggression and unlikability. One of the first moments people in the house started to tire of him was week 1 when he nominated Frank and Kara for eviction. He had promised Frank safety, but Britney and Janelle convinced him to go after Frank to weaken Boogie or Kara to weaken Dan. So tensions got high and Frank and Willie headed out in the backyard. And Boogie even joins in. This of course results in one of the most memorable phrases from the season. Frank tells Willie to eat your F in Fruit Loops. 8. Shane and Danielle's romance. Even Zingbot got in on this one when he told Danielle that Shane was going to get a restraining order on her. BB producers often try to make a showmance happen, and this season was no different. No one wanted that showmance more than Danielle, though. But Shane wasn't having it. It's hard to watch at times, but it was such a major theme of BB14, you just have to embrace the hilarity and cringe factor. 7. Get to Steppin', Boogie. Boogie's pre-jury eviction was such an unexpected moment. But how it played out is incredible. When Ian told Boogie, his former coach, to get to Steppin', it was clear the roles had reversed. That was a callback to when Boogie told Howie the same thing in BB7. And then the topping on the cake was when Ian lets him know he masterminded Boogie's eviction. Ian says he learned from the best, which was the best compliment he could have given Boogie. 6. Joe's blunder. Dan goes into a dark bedroom to ask Joe who he would put on the block. Joe says Danielle and Shane but lets us know in the doctor that he'd really put up Dan. Dan leaves and comes back 30 minutes later and gets into the bed next to Joe. And Joe, thinking it's someone else, starts telling Dan about what Dan just asked him. Dan says this is Dan. And Joe goes, "What's up?" Priceless moment. 5. Willie gets expelled. As mentioned earlier, Willie's short time on Big Brother was filled with angst and no one felt comfortable around him. And when he was shaping up to be Frank's target for eviction, Willie spiraled. And then one night he threw some pork rinds at Janelle and head-butted Frank. So needless to say, Willie was expelled from the game. 4. The coaches hit reset. We all knew this was coming. The coaches knew it was coming. The newbies knew it was coming. But to have those legends back in the game was fine by me. But even though I'm pretty sure this was planned all along, it was awfully convenient that the reset happened before the eviction, thus saving Frank. 3. Britney's DRs. Like her previous season, Britney reigned supreme as the Dr. Queen. From her dry tone to her hilarious insults, no one can do it like her. And let's go back to Boogie's eviction for a moment for an example. In her goodbye message to him, she reenacted a Chilltown Drive phone call, only this call was from Janelle, who Boogie helped get evicted 2 weeks before. 2. That jaw-dropping blindside. One of the most epic blindsides in the show's history was at Final Four when Dan convinced Danielle to use the veto on him. He told her that if she took him off the block and put Shane up in his place, as the sole vote to evict, he would send Ian out the door. And she bought it. And when Dan cast his vote, he sent her Fomance and Final 2 deal out instead. And her jaw hit the floor. Beautiful moment. 1. Dan's funeral. Imagine if this wasn't number 1. When I started this list, there was never a doubt in my mind that Dan's funeral would be the top spot. So Dan was on the block with Danielle, and after losing the veto that week, his fate seemed sealed. But he picked up a solitary confinement punishment during the veto competition, and while locked away, he concocted a plan. He called all the house guests together and staged his own BB funeral. He pretended to accept his fate as he went through each house guest, saying something to each that tugged at all of their heartstrings. And then he pretended to disown Danielle, which made her cry. That was a bonus. In the end, Dan's plan worked and Jen used the veto on him, and Britney was put up in his place and evicted.
Thank you for watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe to see more latest videos from us. Goodbye and see you again.